so great to see you again.
Nice to see you too. How have you been?
Oh, I've been great, but more importantly, how have you been?
I've been good. It's an adjustment. Balancing college and everything, but getting there.
Yeah, tell me how that's going. How is college?
It's still like stressful. There's still a lot of work, but I'm managing my stress. I've started taking yoga classes, and I'm just like managing my time. So that's helping a lot.
Yeah, how's everything at home? How's the boys?
They're good. They're still kind of set in their ways about what they want to eat.
Okay.
I've tried like telling them, like, hey guys, like let's try, something new. But boys will be boys and they'll be picky eaters. So it's been a little difficult. But I'm slowly like helping them make the change. They still love their hamburgers and their meat and potatoes. It's going okay.
Going back to the hamburgers and the meat and potatoes, what do you think would make maybe that more beneficial for you? Because I know that you eat everything that they eat, so how do you think in a way you can maybe benefit from eating hamburgers and potatoes and corn? How do you
I
thought?
feel like
Yeah.
I know a lot of people nowadays they're using like leaner ground beef and stuff, so it has like less fat. So I feel like that would be a good option. Also, maybe if I didn't eat all of the food that the guys eat, like if I decrease my portions because that way like I won't go over my calories and stuff like that. That might be good too.
That's great. That's great to think about. No, that's really great.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything, what do you think you can do to decrease your portion sizes? What do you think ways you could think of that will help get you to that goal?
That's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. I've heard like I don't know, like some people like have like some random tips, just like if you're gonna decrease your portion sizes, like cut them like in half, like make half of your plate like fruits and vegetables. But it's hard to really know what a portion size is, so that's kind of a challenge.
Okay. Well, let's start with how do you normally feel when you look at your plate?
Usually my eyes are bigger than my stomach, so I'm kind of like, whoa, like I can't wait to eat all this. I'm so hungry. But then once I eat all that food, my stomach is just like, whoa, like why did we just do that? That was so much food.
Okay.
So,
Looking at your plate, where do you think most of your food is, like the bigger portions? I know that you said that you had a cup of mashed potatoes for dinner and a large ear of corn and 4 ounces of pork. Starting from that plate, what do you think is the biggest? How did you feel when you ate that meal? Or did you feel full and like whoa again?
yeah, I felt like too full. I feel like the largest portion was, like the corn and the mashed potatoes, um, which I could decrease.
Okay.
As much as I love them, I could decrease them.
Yeah. Have you thought of maybe adding something to it, or maybe some other kinds of vegetables?
Actually, I haven't even thought about that.
Yeah. Well, have you thought of maybe any non-starchy vegetables, or do you know the difference between starchy vegetables and non-starchy vegetables?
Vaguely, I know, non-starchy vegetables would be like your basic, like spinach and, like tomatoes, like those common, like, vegetables that aren't, I don't know how to describe it, so, I don't know, I guess I could kind of use, like, a little lesson on that too, but.
Okay. How about when it comes to your snacks? Let's just take a little bit of break from the portion sizes of the vegetables. I want to know a little bit more about how you feel like you can do with snacking. Do you feel like your snacks are good throughout the day? Do they keep you full?
I feel like they do keep me full, which is why I like to eat them because, sometimes I get hungry and, I just want to eat something. But I'm wondering if maybe I should switch my options from, having trail mix and a granola bar to maybe something else.
All right, that's a thought. When you're normally eating your trail mix and your granola bar, is it normally you're under stress? Are you thinking when you're eating them? What are you doing an activity?
Usually, when I have my snacks, either I'm in class, so I'm trying to like focus on, what I'm learning, or I'm studying, or I'm driving to class or driving home. Um, so I'm not really thinking about the food. I'm thinking about everything else I have to do.
Okay.
So I'm very like distracted, and so I just kind of eat whatever's in front of me.
Okay, good to know. Is there anything that you feel like would make you feel like you should spend time with your food? Have you ever thought of putting time in for you to like sit down and actually take time to pay attention to your food other than paying attention to class, or is it just too inconvenient with the whole busy schedule thing?
It's a little inconvenient just because I'm always on the go. As much as I would love to be able to just like sit down and have a nice meal, I really don't have time for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel like if I were to sit down and just kind of like, not do anything while I'm eating and just kind of, just enjoy what I'm eating, that might help me to not eat as much because I'll actually be like taking the time to eat it slowly and, not like rush myself.
Yeah, that's a great idea to think about. I mean, also, it's also good to think about when you're studying and you're working really hard to focus on what you're learning, and when you take that break and you actually pay attention to something completely different, like maybe intaking of your food, you can focus more on the food and really clear yourself of what you're studying, so then when you go back, you have a fresh start and a fresh mind.
That's a good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
I'll definitely think about that.
Yeah. And any concerns about your breakfasts in the morning? How did you feel about, because it's so fast, like I know we just talked about how like snacks are normally you're just eating them to like get through the day. I noticed that you have breakfast really early in the morning. Now, can you elaborate on that? So you just take a bagel because it's convenient, or what does the morning really consist of for you?
Usually my mornings are I get up and from then on I'm just going, going, going. So usually for breakfast, I grab whatever's easiest. So usually like if there's a bagel, even if I don't have time to toast it, I'll just have the bagel, put some cream cheese on, and then go out the door. Um, I do that because it's fast and it's easy, but I feel like that needs to change. Um, just because they're always saying breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Well, I feel like if I don't have time to actually eat that important meal, I feel like I'm missing out on a lot.
Okay.
So, I would definitely like to change that.
What alternatives do you think you could do to change your breakfast in the morning?
I feel like if I were to sit down and, instead of having a bagel, if I had like a bowl of cereal, that would definitely help a lot. Also, if I were to add like some fruit to it or something like that instead of just having the bagel and, that's it with like my coffee, that would probably help me to feel a little bit more fuller and more satisfied.
Yeah, that's definitely a great thought. And also, the whole dairy too, because you only had dairy at dinner time.
Mm-hmm.
It's also really good to get your dairy in the morning as well, and have it not just at one period of time, but definitely different breaks. So that's a very good idea to think about for definitely having cereal in the morning.
Okay.
And another thing I want to talk about, because we talked about your snacks, your dinner, your breakfast, I want to talk about your lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And your lunch is the fast food. Now, how do you feel about fast food? And you told me you eat it every single day?
Yeah. I tend to eat it every single day.
How does that make you feel? Do you feel good when you eat fast food? How do you feel after you eat fast food?
Well, I feel kind of lousy after I eat it. I feel really guilty, like, just kind of like I know I'm doing something that isn't good for me, but I do it anyways, so that's why I feel guilty. Um, you know, it's hard though because when I'm eating it, I'm like, oh, this is so good, and this is easy. I can go to class, and it's great. But then after I eat it, it just kind of, it just like sits in your stomach and
It doesn't feel good.
doesn't feel too good now.
Okay. Do you think that you'd be looking for other alternatives to substitute for fast food so you don't have that feeling anymore?
Definitely. I know like a lot of fast food restaurants, they do have like healthier, like, salads and whatnot, which I could try, but I don't know how satisfying they would be. But, I could try just like bringing a lunch from home or something. Just, I don't know if I would have time to do that. So it's just like a conflict between time and, feeling satisfied.
Okay. Well, we can definitely talk about that, and we'll see where do you think you could fit time? Do you think you could plan it maybe the night before?
That would be a good idea. I could definitely try that. I think that would probably work out pretty well just because that would save me a lot of time in the morning. It would save me some money so I don't have to pay for the fast food. And, that way I can kind of have variety and maybe get some healthier options in my lunch and actually make it myself. So,
Yeah, great. Okay. So, is there any questions you have for me?
trying to think. I guess I'm kind of, like looking to see like what I'm just not like really sure like what kinds of foods I should be getting rid of. Is there anything I should be getting rid of?
That's what I was going to talk to you about next.
Okay.
Now, I'm really proud of you because you actually brought yourself into thinking areas that I want to address with you later in this interview. So, the 4 things that I talked about, your snacks, the bagel in the morning, your dinner, and with the fast food are 4 topics that I really wanted to cover with you. Not that we had to make giant steps towards that, but you made good advice towards those ideas of changing them, and you were flexible to think of alternatives for that. Now, returning back to the bagel in the morning, the reason why I wanted to cover that was because as much as it's really nice in the morning, and I don't want you to completely get rid of it because I know it's easy and convenient for you, it's just that I've noticed throughout your diet you have a lot of refined grains. Do you know what refined grains are?
Not exactly.
Okay, well, refined grains are, there's whole grains and refined grains. And refined grains are the germ of the wheat. The germ is actually getting split out of the grain and it's bleached. So there's not a lot of nutritional value to it, it's just flavor. So a lot of white breads is refined grains and stuff like that. Cookies, stuff like that. So the difference between the whole grains is whole grains has a lot more fiber, a lot more nutrition value, and some people even think there's a different kind of more flavor to it. Now, I know that whole grains can be expensive compared to white bread. Y'all seen the difference. But I just want you to consider looking and seeing those options available to you. So if you ever want to try whole grains, or you ever think you want to convert to whole grains, maybe you can have that option.
Okay.
There's also a lot of whole grain cereals. I know a lot of whole grain cereals have been more promoted than refined grains. So if you ever just look at the cereal box and see what they list, that'd be a great way to know that you're getting whole grains in your diet.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
But
definitely something to think about.
Yeah. But the cereal with the fruit and the milk, that's great. Great way to add to your diet. So you get your dairy in the morning, your fruit that you've been missing, and of course you get that kind of quick meal in the morning that will keep you full and satisfied.
Okay.
Alright. Another thing I want to talk about was, again, your snacks. Now, your snacks, they are plentiful, but they carry a lot of high calorie content.
Okay.
Now, I know that you really like your trail mix, and I was wondering if maybe instead of just having trail mix and a granola bar, how would you feel about maybe switching or alternating options with that?
I feel like, that's definitely something I could do. Um, if I had trail mix with fruit in it instead of the candies, that might help out a lot. You know, I love trail mix. I could probably live without the granola bar during the day.
Okay. I mean, you don't want to make that step yet, but just an idea.
Okay.
Thinking about maybe, do I need both of these, or maybe can I substitute for something like maybe some vegetables or some fruit? It'd be easy to grab like a banana, or maybe you can pre-cut some celery sticks.
Okay.
Simple things like that.
Alright.
Just an idea though.
Great idea. Thank you.
Another thing I want to talk about was your fast food.
Mhm.
Now, the options of you preparing meals ahead of time and also you maybe limiting it, it was really great to hear that you want to get rid of fast food altogether. But I don't think you can technically just drop something that you've been so used to having, because it won't work with your diet, because you might retaliate. I mean, not retaliate, but like you could totally throw yourself over, and I don't want you to do that. I want you to take baby steps. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable giving up something that you really enjoy. So instead of just getting rid of fast food completely or eliminating it to like 3 times a week, would you think about maybe having it 4 or 5 times a week and seeing if you can work down from that?
Yeah, I could definitely do that. I agree. Baby steps is definitely probably the smarter thing to do, because the last thing I want to do is like relapse and like go back to my old ways. So I could definitely try to do 4 to 5 times a week.
Okay, start with 5 and see if you can work down.
Okay.
Another thing I wanted to concern was the last thing, which was the starchy vegetables and the non-starchy vegetables. Now, we spent a great amount of time talking about that, and you were asking about different vegetable advice for that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of non-starchy vegetables could be cucumbers, peppers, tomatoes, spinach, your dark leaf greens of collard greens, beets, everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of variety of color, and there's a lot of nutrition value to that. There's also, I know that you like to buy a lot of frozen vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a lot of packs of frozen variety packages of vegetables that you can definitely buy that are much cheaper. And you can just steam them up and serve them. So if you ever thought of that option, that'd be a great way to add color to your plate. Do you know what adding color to your plate really is?
Not exactly. What's that?
So color to your plate is just adding more vegetables and fruits to your plate and give them more variety than the overtaking bland colors of grains and meats and stuff like that. It's just to give it more variety to your plate and more eye appealing, so you're attracted to more vegetables and fruits. But that's just an idea.
Okay. Alright. That's a really good idea.
Okay. So let's recap. Starting with a bagel in the morning. So what are you considering of doing in the morning to change the bagel?
I think what I'm gonna do is, kind of like save the bagel as like an emergency breakfast. Like I'll have it if I really don't have time, but otherwise I'm gonna try to make time to have cereal and have like some cereal, some milk, and some fruit in the morning instead.
Okay.
So definitely just making time though.
Okay. And the mid-morning snack, do you want to save that for another time? I don't want to put too much on you, but have you thought of maybe, do you want to make that alternative yet, or do you want to try to think of ideas for the alternative?
I think an alternative would be really good, but I think for now, I would like to see, how having cereal for breakfast fills me up until the snack time, because if it doesn't fill me up, then I would like to, maybe leave the original granola bar there. But if the cereal does fill me up, then I would definitely think about switching the option, just so that way, I'm not hungry throughout the day.
Yeah, the alternative between the pretzels and the granola bar and switching between the mid-morning to the afternoon snack is a great way to look at it too.
Okay.
For the fast food, what do we decide on?
I think limiting my fast food frequency to maybe like 5 times a week would be a great way to start. Because I understand fast food is definitely something that shouldn't be consumed every day. So if I start out really small and you know, I'll try to bring my own lunches for most of the days, but you know, I'm gonna start out with limiting myself to only 5 days, and
Okay.
then work down.
Okay.
So
And that's a work in progress, and hopefully, if you come back again, which I'd really like to hear from that.
I'd love to.
But maybe we can discuss more ways of alternating it, and maybe finding different ways of reducing more of the fast food.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be great.
But other than that, the baby steps.
Yes.
And then the starchy vegetables. What do we decide for that for your dinner?
I think definitely having like those frozen mixed vegetables would help a lot. You know, I'd probably get those frozen ones that have like the carrots and like the green beans and you know maybe like the squash and stuff in them. Because that would definitely add some more color and some more variety to my plate, and it'd be easy to do, and it's cheaper. I would also, you know, I think a good idea would be to have maybe like a salad, like at least one night a week, and that would have, you know, all my different colors in it, like my leafy greens, you know, like tomatoes, carrots, cucumbers, all those things that I normally don't have. So I think that would be something to try too.
Okay.
So
All right. That's really great alternatives, but again, feel the need to do ones that you think you can reach, and we can definitely talk about maybe getting to those other goals, but we definitely brought up a broad range of goals that we covered today, and I'm really glad we got that done.
thank you.
Yeah.
So am I.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm hoping after this you can come back and tell me how you feel, and hopefully you can find some alternatives for you, and today was really helpful.
Yes, of course. Today was amazing. Thank you very much.
I actually wrote some handouts that you can show you and the boys
Of
on
course.
some cooking tips,
Mhm.
finding low-fat meats,
Uh-huh.
looking at different options for alternatives and getting your full protein.
Mhm.
You can look at the different lists and knowing the difference between whole grains and refined.
All right. Wonderful. This is great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
My contact information's on that, so if you have any questions and you want to contact me, my number, my email is everything on there.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. I look
And-
forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.